So this is the last ever solution you're going to need for lag-free excellent gaming. This is the Tuf Gaming AX Wi-Fi 6 gaming routers with ultra-fast Wi-Fi 6 speeds, trusted durability and stable operation, as well as fast and stable wired gaming thanks to its dedicated gaming port. What more could a gamer ask for? So, firstly, on my right, we have the Asus Tuf Gaming AX 5400, and on my left we have the Asus AX 6000. So in terms of the AX 5400, it is supported up to Wi-Fi 6 802.11.ax, and in terms of speeds, on the 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth it can carry 574 megabits per second, and on the 5 gigahertz bandwidth it can carry 4804 megabits per second. On the 2.4 gigahertz it works in a MIMO 2x2 configuration, and on the 5 gigahertz it works in a 4x4 configuration, meaning that it has 4 times the network efficiency with OFDMA and 160 megahertz channels which it can choose from. This router is built in with a 1.5 gigahertz tri-core processor. It has 256 megabits of flash storage and 512 megabits of RAM. In terms of a build quality, it's built with an awesome plastic finish that feels amazing. It has metal protectors around all of the ports. It has 6 evenly spaced antennas, and I mean, it has this cool logo that is RGB. Within the router, in terms of cooling, it has an aluminium heatsink with nanocarbon coating to make sure that it is efficiently cooled, as well as it has plenty of vents to dissipate all of that heat. In terms of weight, this router weighs 600 grams. In terms of ports, it has 1 gigabit WAN port. It has 4 gigabit LAN ports with its dedicated gaming port being on port number 1. It has a USB 3.0 port as well as your DC in, as well as not forgetting all the other buttons, the power, the reset and that sort of thing. In terms of this router's design, it has a very futuristic look with very sharp corners, and I think it appeals to me as a gamer. Never mind, I'm a weekend gamer, but I mean, the look of it just appeals to me, and the RGB, it just gives you that like spaceshipy Stargate sort of vibes if you follow me, or if you even know what Stargate is. But in terms of cooling, I mean, you can see it's actually built quite efficiently to dissipate heat. So it has heat vents on the side of the router, on either side. Above the LAN ports, it also has vents to dissipate heat, as well as not forgetting the underneath, as well as a little bit of space on the front as well, just above the pointy bit, I guess. This router also supports link aggregation or link teaming. So it allows you to take LAN 1 and LAN 2 and join them together and aggregate the link, meaning instead of just having a 1 gigabit per second link, we have now a 2 gigabit per second link by having 2 of the same concurrent connection. It also allows us to do that with the WAN port by teaming or aggregating the WAN port and the 4th LAN port by allowing us to have 2 gigabits per second in as well as 2 gigabits per second out. After that, it also allows us to have faster Wi-Fi experience thanks to OFDMA, as well as through the 4x4 MIMO configuration. And because we have so many antennas, it allows us to separate the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Something else that this router is built in with is beam forming. So beam forming, what it does, it basically directs the signal towards a device. Like if it identifies something like a PlayStation, instead of it just broadcasting signal anywhere, it says, hey, you know what, the PlayStation is in that direction, so I'm gonna sort of form my signal towards that. After that, then we have the Asus AI mesh support, mean we can connect many of these routers together to build a more reliable and more wider connection. The next feature that we have built into this router is 3 gaming modes. Firstly, a mobile gaming mode. So the mobile gaming mode can be activated through the Asus mobile application or the Asus router application. And what it does, it prioritizes traffic from that phone, or more specifically gaming traffic from that phone out to the internet. The second one is prioritizing gaming traffic through the gaming port, which is dedicated at the back of the router. And then the third mode is an open NAT support, by basically specifying this traffic needs to prioritize on top of everything else. After that, we also have different QoS modes for different life situations. QoS, quality of service, and we can basically specify, you know what, I want my VoIP traffic to be traveling, or my WhatsApp audio calls to be higher priority than my YouTube, something along those lines. Something else quite interesting about this router is that it has a simultaneous gaming and VPN function built in, basically VPN fusion. So it allows gaming to have a VPN installed and running on the router, but as well as it allows regular traffic to just be traveling out without the VPN, and vice versa, whether you want your regular traffic over a VPN and your gaming traffic regularly out. Something else I like about this router is the fact that it has commercial grade security for just our regular old home. AI protection Pro, WPA3, as well as advanced parental controls over the router, as well as advanced monitoring. So we can monitor the amount of traffic and where the traffic is going and that sort of thing. So moving on now to the AX6000. The AX6000 also supports Wi-Fi 6 on the 802.11ax bandwidth, but this supports up to 160 megahertz. In terms of its speeds, on the 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth, it supports 1148 megabits per second, and on the 5 gigahertz bandwidth, it supports 4804 megabits per second. So on the 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth, it teams up the connections in a 4x4 configuration, and for the 5 gigahertz bandwidth, it teams it up in a 2 4x4 configuration. The AX6000 is built in with a 2 gigahertz quad-core processor. It has 256 megabits of flash storage and 512 megabits of RAM. In terms of the build quality, or the build of the router, it has the exact same build as the AX5400 in terms of the plastic and everything. In terms of the antennas, it has the same 6 antennas that the AX5400 has. In terms of cooling, the cooling is it's basically the same chassis, but where it differs is firstly in weight. This is 696 grams, and secondly, it differs in ports. So this has the USB 3 port like the AX5400, but here now we have a 2.5 gig WAN port, which is a 2.5 gig or 1 gigabit per second WAN port. Then we have 4 gigabit LAN ports, as well as we have our dedicated gaming port, which is right here. Then it has one 2.5 gig LAN port, which is now giving us basically 5 LAN ports instead of just regular old 4, and we still have our DC power in. Now, in terms of features, so this has link aggregation as well, and it also allows us to aggregate the WAN port. But this time it allows us to aggregate the WAN port in terms of 5 gigabits per second. So it teams up the WAN and the 5th port. It also offers us wider coverage through OFDMA. Here, same 4x4 MIMO separating the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bandwidth, beamforming, the 3 gaming modes which we spoke about earlier, the different QoS modes for different life situations, the VPN fusion, as well as the commercial grade security and monitoring for our routers. Let's do some testing. Okay, so what I want to show you guys, unfortunately, our internet cannot compete with the speeds that are being output from this Wi-Fi network, right? But what I want to show you, I'm standing a meter away from this, and although we're paying for a 50 up, 50 down line, for some reason it's misbehaving with this weather and it's getting like under 40 at the moment, 37, 39, around there. So you saw this here. Now watch this. Now you're walking with me, right? Right. So now this is about 5 meters away from the router, and we've started a speed test. Now keep walking and watch what happens? We're walking. 5, we are just about 7, 9, 10, 15. We're behind a wall now. And it's that same speed. Let's run it one more time, right? Now we just about 10 meters. We behind 2 brick walls, and we're gonna run that same speed test again. No clear line of sight anymore. And here's the funny thing. If we walk, okay, it's almost done actually. If we take one more step back. So now we're just about 15 meters out. We're behind 3 walls almost. We're running the speed test again. So we're behind 3 brick walls, and look at this. 39, 38. Exactly the same speed we were getting when we were standing right in front of the router. Now we're literally 15 meters away from the router, behind 3 brick walls. And we still get, and we also have this beautiful fridge, which is absorbing signal. Let's jump back into the review. So as I explained, our network in doesn't have sufficient bandwidth for us to even do a network speed test to show you the true speeds of this router, because I mean 50 megabits per second, it was covered even behind 3 walls. So I mean maybe I need to get a faster gigabit fiber connection, who knows. Now let's move on to who are these routers dedicated towards. So obviously this is the Tuf gaming router, so the main target market is bound to be gamers, and not just your regular old weekend gamers like me. This is for hardcore gamers that want 2.5 gig networking, lag-free gaming, prioritization of mobile gaming traffic, which basically lowers their inhibitants of their gaming experience. In terms of price, the AX5400 retails for around 3,000 Rand. The AX6000, this retails anywhere between 3,600 Rand and 4,700 Rand, depending on where you can pick it up. I've had a chance to actually play around with these routers, and I found so much of value and so much of features and functionalities in these routers. The unfortunate bit was I could never harness the full potential of the speeds of these routers, because I have a 50 megabit per second line, which I pay $900. And if I had to even think about getting a gigabit link, I do not know what I'll be paying, but that's a story for another day. These routers are actually quite interesting. They are built to be durable and reliable, and I mean you can see from the speed test, as I am walking, I literally walk behind 3 walls and I get the same consistent 50 megabits per second speed. So maybe the top end of the speeds were only being thrashed out, who knows. Yeah, I mean what more can I say? And I mean looking at even setting up these routers, how simple, easy. As soon as you connect and open the user interface, it walks you through setting it up. Simple as that. Prioritizing your traffic for gaming, literally one click. So it's an awesome piece of kit to have. And for our hardcore gamers that aren't just the guys that want to play PlayStation after work and that sort of thing. They are the hardcore gamers who are streamers, who need the best performance. They are the guys who are the esports players and everyone. These routers are built for you in mind. Whether you just having a quick practice session on your mobile, whether you playing your games on your PC while you're streaming. And if we think about someone who is a streamer and an esports player, it prevents you from having a dedicated link just for your game, for your streaming or for your esports gaming, as well as it allows you to prioritize your traffic. So if you are sharing that link maybe with your parents and your parents are streaming Netflix, you know that your gaming experience is not going to suffer, because you can configure your router to prioritize your gaming traffic and tell them, hey, Netflix comes last, Twitch and the game stream comes first. But yeah guys, it's been an awesome piece of tech to review, and as someone who loves networking, it was an absolute pleasure to test out these routers, and it actually broke me out of my comfort zone to try and test something like this. And it has so many features that I didn't want to try and teach you about all of the features, and this becomes a 40-minute review which you are never going to watch all the way. But anyway, I am heading in the direction of making this 40 minutes. Guys, thank you very much for watching. A big thank you to Asus for sending out these routers for us to review and to share our opinions on. If you enjoyed this video, guys, you can let me know by giving me a like rating if you did. If you have any questions about the routers or would like to purchase one of your own, links in the description below. Guys, thanks for watching. My name is Prashant and I'll catch you in the next video.